Of a back-to-back tonight as the Chicago Bulls face off against the Detroit Pistons. Will the Bulls finally shoot the ball effectively? Will they be able to bring over their branded defense from the first half of last night's game into this game against Detroit? Is Zach LaVine going to play? We're going to talk about that all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, make sure you guys are following the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every single social media platform that we have. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. But yeah, so it's been a tough go for the Chicago Bulls, and I want to be clear: the Bulls won last night, but they played an absolute downright terrible game of basketball. Now, I'm glad that they were able to show the grit, show everything that was needed to be able to win that game. But listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Just because they got a win, they played like shit. Played like absolute dog shit as a team. And even though DeMar DeRozan definitely, played a great, fourth quarter there to really help push the Bulls into overtime, let's be clear here. Even DeMar DeRozan, out of the 8 quarters of basketball he's played, 7 of those quarters have been absolute dog shit. So this team just needs to come in and execute and perform much better. They have to. Right. And so, you would hope that, maybe you could build off some confidence. Maybe you can execute a little bit better. But execution needs to be the name of the game for the Chicago Bulls today. It has to come down to execution on both sides of the ball if they want to beat this team. The Detroit Pistons, while not shaping up or projected to be anything amazing this season, this is not a young team you want to take for granted. The Bulls have had problems for the last 2 seasons with young, scrappy teams. And Jalen Duren averaging what he averages as far as blocks per game, it's going to be a long night for the Chicago Bulls to get to the rim. It just is, especially DeMar DeRozan in the mid-range. Look out for Jalen Duren to really just make it difficult. He is averaging, I think, like 3 blocks per game so far in the season is Jalen Duren averaging so far. So you got to look out for that. Killian Haize is averaging 2 steals per game. Again, this is not an amazing team by any stretch of the imagination, but they're the same 1-1 that the Chicago Bulls are. They have to come into this game prepared. And we'll see if any changes happen with the starting lineup. Usually that's announced. The starting lineup's announced about 30 minutes before game time. So we'll be checking that out. We usually announce that here on the show, whether they made changes to the lineup or not. But listen, this is not going to be, at least not with the way that the Bulls have played so far, this is not shaping up to be an easy game for the Chicago Bulls. Now, with that said, if the Bulls come in, execute better, shoot the ball more effectively, because if they can shoot their 3-pointers better in this game and extend that floor out, that's going to help limit what Jalen Duren is able to do in the middle and in the mid-range on defensively. Then you can start, maybe it can become an easier game for the Chicago Bulls. But best believe this is not shaping up to be an easy game by any stretch for the Chicago Bulls at all, not even a little bit. So we need execution in the starting lineup. We need them to actually be able to make an entry pass to get it to Vooch. Vooch is going to have a long night against Jalen Duren, even though he's a young, second-year player now. It's going to be a long night for Nikola Vucevic with the length and shot blocking that Jalen Duren has. Vooch typically doesn't really operate good against those players, but we'll see if something changes, right? The mid-range is going to be a difficult place for the Chicago Bulls to get to. Monty Williams is a really good defensive-minded head coach as well. He's not defensive-minded, but he's a really good defensive coach. And so expect this team to be very disciplined. And while they may not have the best skill, the Detroit Pistons are going to be very disciplined in the way that they execute on the defensive side of the ball. So the Chicago Bulls got to match that discipline with moving the ball around. Ball movement, ball movement, player movement, move the ball, when you don't have the ball, right? Just straightforward basketball. These are the fundamentals for a reason. We need to get back to running those fundamentals a little bit more. Also, shooting the ball effectively. If the Bulls can shoot the ball effectively, especially from 3-point range, I don't care how many 3-pointers you take. I don't want you to come out and necessarily take 40 3-pointers, but take the open ones. Hit the open ones, right? We've over the first 2 games of the season, the Bulls have probably missed about a good 10 to 12 wide open threes on top of the ones that they're missing other than that. You got to make your open shots tonight. Hit it at a much better rate. This is how the Chicago Bulls can find a path to victory. Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, Torrey Craig, Javon Carter, Andre Drummond. These guys coming off the bench are going to be important as well for setting and extending the tone for the Chicago Bulls. If Patrick Williams is moved to the second unit, how do you now perform after being demoted again for the third season in a row? You come in as the starting power forward and you get demoted, right? These are things that are concerning for this team. And let's hope that they can come back and maybe perform a little bit better in that than what they have so far on this young season. But let's go ahead and get into the comment section. Let's see how you guys are feeling about this game. Queen Antoinette Rick says, yes, Dalen Terry, the people's champ and my hero. Do what you do, nephew. I'm cheering for you always and forever. Go Bulls. Y'all got this. Well, first of all, Dalen Terry, energy. We all want to see Dalen Terry succeed, but he got to play better. He got to figure out. He got to slow down. But with that said, we definitely want the Bulls to win. Tay Holland says, I think tonight's game is a winnable game, long as we play the right way and take care of the ball. Very good point there. Why is Levine possibly out for tonight's game? Is it his back, his brother, as Damon already told you, it's his back. So he's had a back injury, I think, since the start of the season. You real OG player, my ninja. Shout out to TBO. I appreciate you being in the building as always. MC Season says, what's good, Haize? How was your day so far? Hey, listen, bro, I'm living, man. That's it. I'm getting to live my dream. I wake up every day and get to do what I absolutely love for a living. Right? That's crazy. Like that right there. There's so much freedom in that like it's hard for me to have a bad day. I am literally living my dream. Like for real. I'm 36 years old. As many of you guys know, I'll be 37 in December. If somebody would have told 22-year-old Haize, hey, by your mid-30s, you're going to be absolutely doing what you love to do, I wouldn't have believed them. And then they would have told me that the thing that I love to do would have been talking. I would have said, you fucking crazy. Because most people who've actually met me in person will tell you, I'm introverted as hell. I don't like talking. In my real life, I talk more in this podcast than I talk in one live stream. I talk more than what I do the rest of the month out in real life. I don't talk. I don't like to talk. I'm an extremely quiet person. It is what it is. Now, I'm also crazy. That's why I'm quiet, is because I'm crazy. And I typically will go to fuck off on anybody at any point in time. So, that plays a part in it as well. Don't be crazy, people. Don't be, or else if you're going to be crazy, I guess use the podcast, whatever. Like take from that what you will. What's up, Haize? How you doing? I'm good, Emmanuel. I'm glad to have you in the building. How you doing, fam? We better come with the rock hard. Whoa. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna let that be. What's up, hey? Shout out to Bulls Troy. Looking forward to watching the game tonight. My time, and hope we lay the smack down on the straight up bitch. Goddamn. I don't know if I've ever seen Troy call somebody a bitch before. Shout out to you, Troy. Markel says, I want this game to be over midway through the third quarter. I'm not too worried about Detroit because, well, it's Detroit. Whether Zach plays or not, I expect to be in control of this game. Well, listen, I'm glad that you're coming in with this confidence, but what we've seen from this Bulls team so far, I don't have confidence right now for them to be able to take care of anybody, even if they should. I got to see. You got to show me. I wanted Monty Williams as a coach when he became a free agent. A lot of people did. So, so glad I went to yesterday's game because I was originally going to the season opener. Well, shout out to you, Alex Larez. I'm glad you got to see a dub. Definitely glad you got to see a dub. Need to see effort right out the gate. Well, I mean, listen, no, I don't care. Like, yeah, I want to see it right out the gate but they showed effort right out the gate in last game. I want to see effort throughout the whole entire game. That's what we need to see. Detroit are cats. Pussies? Yeah, for sure. Since you work so hard, Haize, does that put a strain on the relationship you have with the mothers of your mothers? How you just gonna put multiple bodies on me, bro? Listen, I'm not your pappy, bro. Don't put multiple bodies on me, my brother. Why are we doing that? Why are you going with that bar? Like what we doing here? Come on, fam. Like what? Plus, I have my kids. My kids live with me. Crazy is just a sign of the creatives. Listen, I say that before. I actually have a whole episode on The Awakened Soul, which is my more insightful, deep podcast. I don't always post the episodes on YouTube, so it's not a YouTube channel. It's a traditional podcast. You got to go to Spotify, got to go to the Apple Podcast if you want to listen to it. But I have a episode called Creative Narcissism, and it was actually talking about how all creatives have a tinge of narcissism, and they're a little crazy in it. So go check that one out. I hope Craig start. P. Will need to come off the bench. I mean, listen, I get what you're saying. Definitely, I would say this: Craig needs to start. As far as P. Will needs to come off the bench, there's nothing about P. Will's game that's going to change with him coming off the bench. It's just not. Until he unlocks his mentality, the right mentality. You can start him. You can bring him off the moon. You can have him at the third string. You can have him at the second string. You have him coach. It don't matter until Patrick Williams unlocks the mentality that's needed to be able to perform as a fourth option in this league and be consistent in that role. It doesn't matter where you're playing. But I will say this: Torrey Craig has shown that he probably deserves to start. So we'll see what that starting lineup is going to look like. Is Levine day to day? He was listed as probable, I think, for today. Initially, I think right after the game, they said it was going to be to be determined. This morning, I think it was listed as probable, and then they came out later on and said he may not play. He's a game time decision for tonight's game per Billy Donovan. That's what the latest release is. So we'll end up seeing what that means in the long term. Bro, when it comes to Detroit, they're getting all the smoke. Fuck Detroit, always and forever. I mean, Detroit is a terrible ass city. Like, listen, this is what I say, right? This is always what I say. Cleveland is the butthole of the Midwest. Detroit is the armpit. They both stink. Like, it just is what it is, right? It just is what it is. Cleveland is the booty hole of the Midwest. It's a terrible city, terrible people, everything. And Detroit is the armpit. It's bad. A European armpit at that. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. So that's just what I got to say about those two cities, man. If Alex Caruso starts, Kate Cunningham will most definitely have a lot of turnovers. I wouldn't say most definitely, but I will say this: I don't know if. Here's the thing, right? If let's say Zach does sit, I think that they will probably allow. I want to say Io, but it may not be Io because they may want some shooting out there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what that starting lineup is, man. We'll see what it is. But yeah. Not the European armpit. Hey, bro, I'm telling you, man, it's bad, bro. Like Detroit is a bad city. Like Detroit looks like Iraq, bro. Like dead serious. Like parts of Detroit literally look like Iraq. And the bad part of it is parts of, like in most parts of the city where buildings would be condemned, there are full families living in those buildings in Detroit. It's like it should be condemned, but people are living in it. It's wild. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like it literally, like some pictures of Detroit look like a third world country. It's bad, bro. It's bad. So yeah, no, I'm good on that. You can keep that up out of where I need to be, and where I choose to be. Because Detroit is like I'm just gonna put a couple of pictures up here. Hold on, let me get these saved so I can post this up here. For those that don't actually live in the Midwest, may not ever been to Detroit. Listen, there are parts of Detroit where it looks beautiful. You can put lipstick on a pig. You can put lipstick on a pig, and that is what some of Detroit is. But in practicality, man, fuck Detroit, bro. Like that place is bullshit. This is literally Detroit. This is literally Detroit. This is Detroit. Look at this. People live there. There are people living in these buildings. That's wild, bro. And that's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's wild, man. And that's crazy. With Cleveland being the booty hole of the Midwest, the White House should be comfortable. Wow. Okay, we just gonna move on. Turn up AC. It's cold in here. Stacey King be wilding on the live call. Oh yeah, Stacey King is wild, bro. I've never been to Detroit and I live in Chicago. Don't go. Like like why? There's no reason. Like I said, I don't want to act like there are parts of Detroit that are beautiful. Really are parts of Detroit that's beautiful. I would not sit here and tell you the whole city looks like that because honestly, it doesn't. There's some spoken word spots in Detroit that are nice. But I tell you what, when you're in Detroit, the first thing that comes to your mind is when the fuck am I going home? Like I'm dead serious. It's when am I going home? Oh shit, that's wild as fuck. It's crazy, right? That shit look like I Am Legend. That's wild. That's wild. Detroit looks like Gary, Indiana. That's crazy again. Can you give a shout out to my most favorite homies, Lil Ricky, Stabby, and Mel the Lesbian? Shout out to Lil Ricky, Stabby, and Mel the Lesbian. Shout out, is Mel the Lesbian a stud? Because like Mel the Stud is kind of a better nickname if that's the case. But shout out to Mel, man. I heard Mel got the strap, and Dwight Howard came calling. With that being said, let's go ahead and move into the next thing. Per KC, Zach getting up his normal shooting routine. His back has been tight all day, but he's trying to loosen it up enough to play. Let's read that again. Hold on. Wait. Call the manager. Wait a second. Can I speak to the manager? Let's read this comment from Troy again. Per KC, Zach has been getting his normal shooting routine up. His back has been tight today, but is trying to loosen it up enough to play. You're going to go ahead and move on. That's somebody call the manager. That first photo you showed looked like a scene out of I Am Legend. Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. Gee, what do you be talking about, fam? Like I need you to lay off the cocaine. It's not for you, bro. Like, stop doing meth. That's crazy. Man, can you imagine partying with Adam and Stacy? That would be a hell of a time. I heard Adam's DJ Ella. Listen, I could. Stacey King is that old guy who be at every club that when you show up, you be like, damn, why this old motherfucker in here? And then he'd be like, hey man, you want a round? He buy you a couple of rounds of shots, and next thing you know, he's throwing money in the air and bottle popping. Like, yeah, it is what it is. Wait, did I make a pause moment? You absolutely did, sir. You absolutely did. You did. Zach is playing. Does that been officially announced? Let's see. He's getting shoot around. That doesn't necessarily mean he's playing. Let me see if I have anything announced yet. Let me check my sources. Give me 1 second. I don't see anything officially saying that yet. We'll see. Shout out to the Chicago Bulls for having a partnership with Crumble Cookies, by the way. You fat fucks. I know you guys enjoy that shit. But yeah. Y'all wilding today. Austin, you've been in here, bro. You know we wild every day. This ain't nothing new. Imagine Detroit is as a COD map. Oh, hey, listen, I won't even lie. That'll be a fire COD map. Hey, Haize, first time commenting here. I'm from Australia, but I'm thinking about moving to either Detroit or Cleveland. What would you recommend? Die. That's what I would recommend. Death and destruction. STDs. Go and get your Jace case. Go get some antibiotics. Go ahead and load up, because I tell you what, if that's where you're thinking about moving to, BKR Sport, I'm worried about you, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like you, and I'm worried about you, man. I don't know how I would take that. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Like if you thinking about moving from Australia to Detroit or Cleveland, all I can say to you is hey man, pray for your genitals, because it's not finna be. Oh yeah, Casey Johnson said Zach said he's playing tonight versus Pistons. Shout out to Zach for trying to play through it again, but he can't play like absolute dog shit. But yeah, man, you think about moving from Australia. I mean, I guess you guys are technically a country full of convicts, so I guess. I mean, I'm just fucking with you, BK. Please, I hope that didn't offend you for real, bro. I'm literally just fucking with you. Oh man, wait, is that really Joey? Is that Joey for real? No, that can't be really Joey. Is that real Joey? That can't be real Joey. Hey, it's first time commenting here. I'm from Australia, but I'm thinking about moving to either Detroit or I already read that. What the hell? Working as an attorney at a big worldwide firm in Chicago. I had to go to another big firm in Detroit for a week. Unlike Chicago, the streets feel deserted there, like a ghost town, kind of eerie. Well, thank God you made it out without getting pregnant. That's all I can say on that one. I'm a diehard Bulls fan from the hundreds, Roseland. But damn, I got high blood pressure in just 2 games watching them. Hey, listen, that's what this team would do. This team is taking years off our lives, fam. Years off our lives. So Zach for playing. Hope you can see some shots go in tonight and get some momentum going. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. The Pacers are 2-0 this season early, but they are playing well. Hey, listen, I said it. The Pacers are a team that absolutely can make the Central Division very, 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 very interesting, especially on the middle of the pack teams. It definitely can make it. So we'll see with that. We'll see. Is there a coach you think would be successful with this team? Um, yeah, I think Mike Dango from the OKC Thunder would do amazing work for the offense of this team. But like I've said before, it's to me whenever we do move on from Billy Donovan, I know a lot of Bulls fans ask. I'm not saying that that's necessarily what you're asking either, Steve. So I'm technically not answering the question that you asked. Forgive me. It is what it is. I told y'all I'm crazy. But to me, a lot of Bulls fans always say, well, who are you going to get to replace him? To me, don't go out and get another big name coach. You did that when it was Billy Donovan, when you probably should have hired Ime Udoka, who wasn't a big name at that point, right? I want you to go find the next great head coach. I don't want you to sign another big name. I don't want to see a coach that's been in the league 10, 8 years, whatever. I want you to get your air exposure, meaning how the Miami Heat knew Eric Spoelstra was probably going to be a damn good coach. Nobody in the NBA world knew who Eric Spoelstra was when he took over that job, other than he had been in that Miami Heat organization. That's what I want the Chicago Bulls to do, is get the next coach that is going to build a system here, that's going to be here for years to come, and that's going to really build out, develop, and flesh out this roster. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see another big name head coach. You can keep Mark Jackson's ass at home. I don't want to see Doc Rivers. I don't want to see Mike D'Antoni, because his teams play no defense, so we're going to take the D out of that. I don't want to see none of those guys. Keep all their asses at home. I want you to go out and actually do your research. I want you to go out and get what Fred Hoiberg was supposed to be for the Chicago Bulls team. Get doesn't even have to necessarily be a young coach. Go out and get the coach that is going to be the next great head coach, and that's going to be here for 8 years. 8 to 10 years, if not more. That's what I want to see from the Chicago Bulls team. So no, I don't necessarily have a name, because I hope that they go out and find somebody that's going to build this team out, that's going to build a system here, that's going to build an organization that we're going to look back and say, hey, we now have a culture. That's what I want for this Bulls team. I don't want none of the coaches that have already coached in the NBA. Them and the Bears trying to put us all in the early grave. Listen, I told you motherfuckers. Everybody was like, 2 years ago, everybody was like, Haize, you're so good at doing Bulls. When are you going to start a Bears channel? Start a Bears channel. I was like, listen, if I start a Bears channel, my beard is going to be gray within the first season. Thank God we've made it through a whole year. My beard hasn't turned gray. But covering the Bears every single day has literally taken 5 years off my life in the year and a half I've been doing that show. That team, I love them. I love them. I love them. But good Lord knows that covering the Bears is stressful. Does the whole Dwight situation? Oh, all right, we are moving right along. No, Detroit is to the town from Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's scary as a bitch out there. That is hilarious. Let's see. I might just skip the game for a nap or some shit. I don't know if I got the mental energy to watch Zach Brick every shot in passive P being passive P today. Well, let's hope that neither one of those things happen, right? You don't want to go into it expecting that, right? I think the Thunder will be top 6. I definitely think there's a possibility of that. Definitely think there's a possibility of that. Let's see. We tried that and got Fred. No. Pax and Gar Pax tried that. Keep in mind, Fred Hoiberg was not Pax guy, was Gar Foreman's guy. We all know Gar Foreman is a fucking Muppet. We don't want Gar Foreman to, like, he went and picked an Iowa guy. And here's what I'll say, though. Every head coach in the NBA that runs an effective offense will admit they stole from Fred Hoiberg's system. So there was a reason why Fred Hoiberg was hired here, because like Steve Kerr said, he stole some stuff from Fred Hoiberg's system, right? He said that. Mike Dango just talked about that he stole some stuff from Fred Hoiberg's system. Hoiberg has a good offensive system. We didn't have the team to run it, but no, that's absolutely what we need to do, because we went out and got a big name head coach. If you go look around the NBA, typically coaches that stay and build a solid, that actually turn a franchise around, aren't typically the big name coaches. Doc Rivers didn't do shit for the Clippers or for Philly. Sure, they won a lot of games, but what did they ultimately accomplish? Not shit. Mike D'Antoni ain't done shit for a team since he left the goddamn Suns, right? Which, when he got hired by the Suns, he was a head coach that not a lot of people knew about or understood what he was going to bring. There's not really been a lot of Rick Carlisle was probably the last coach that was a big name head coach that went to the team and then won a title with that team. But even then, so it's not a lot of head coaches that typically bounce around that then eventually get you out of the fucking pits. If we already had a solid team, if we already had a team that went on deep playoff runs, cool, go out and get you a veteran coach at that point. But we are building something. We need to build. We need to build something, develop young players. No, you want to go out and get you the next great head coach. That's what you want to do. Haize, you think Kevin McHale will be a good coach? I think that Kevin McHale will probably be a really good lead assistant. Must-win game tonight. We got a tough schedule ahead. I mean, nothing's must-win this early in the season as a mate. We trading the Paul. No, we're not trading Patrick Williams. Listen, I know that all Bulls fans aren't going to like this either, but you guys know I'm not here to tell you fake. I'm here to give you the real. While he may be benched, he's getting a second contract here with the Chicago Bulls. AK and Eversley are not about to even risk Paul going somewhere else and being the next Larry Markkinen. They're not going to do it. They are going to sink or swim with developing their guys, and they are going to, I tell you what, AK is going to hold on to the young guys on this roster until they absolutely show that they don't deserve to be in the league, and then nobody's going to sign their ass. They are not going to let another young player, and Patrick Williams being, 22 years old now, they're not going to let him go to another team, and that team develop him. And the next time we're talking about, hey, why didn't we do that with him? Why didn't we do that with them? Come on. You're going to get the annoying Bulls fans. They're going to be like,
oh my God, it happened again. You think that they would have learned from Laurie? We let Wendell Carter go, and now he's on the Magic. Oh my God. And now Patrick Williams has gone to the Spurs, and he looks like the perfect number 2 next to Wemby. Oh, no. Listen.
We don't want to hear from them bitch ass Bulls fans, so it's not happening. Why isn't anyone talking about the NBA being investigated by the DOJ for violating antitrust, trying to stop the Big Three from growing as a league? People are talking about it, but I mean, hey, we're Chicago Bulls podcast. Go over to NBA Central. We're definitely going to talk about it. Then me and Stavo have already planned on that. But yeah, I mean, listen, and the NBA is stupid for doing that, because to me, the NBA should be trying to partner with the Big Three, because they're no competition to the NBA. None. Zero. None. Nilch. The Big Three cannot stop the NBA from what they're doing. They should embrace it. The same way that the NFL has embraced the XFL, and now that the XFL is merging with the USFL, they should be embracing that, because that could be something. A lot of your older players are there. Your former players are there. We already talked about how the NBA doesn't really do anything for the former stars. This should be something that the NBA should be embracing. It's fucking idiotic is what it is, and it's bad. I'm still waiting to see Double Dip Portillo's offer for Pat Williams. We better accept that straight away. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. I wanted the Bulls to get Nick Nurse. Guy's a basketball nerd to the fullest. Yeah, I mean, but being a basketball nerd doesn't necessarily garner success, right? Most of these coaches are basketball nerds. But Nick Nurse, honestly, Nick Nurse is not all that different from Billy Donovan. I will say this: he's probably better at defensive adjustments, but he's not all that different from Billy Donovan. He doesn't, he's trying to double downs with his stars. Offensively, they're damn near the same guy. They do not make offensive adjustments. Nick Nurse isn't that bit different from Billy Donovan, and they both got almost the same hairstyle. So it's just Billy Donovan got that strong ass hairline. So it is what it is there. Seeing DeMar get frustrated last night definitely helped for sure, because we all felt that as well, right? Can't even call him Paul anymore. He's slaw. That shit they throw in your KFC meal and you don't want it. They reached on picking him, and he taught them to never do that shit again. No, it's just that here's the thing. There's still a player in Patrick Williams that absolutely, at the bare minimum, Patrick Williams can be a 3-and-D player in the NBA. And when you look at the history of the 4th overall picks, they don't usually work out as far as being superstars. There's absolutely a world in which Patrick Williams is a 10, 12-year NBA player that gives you solid defense, that hits some three-point shots, and then every once in a while goes off for 30. Right? There's always a spot for somebody like that. It just sucks because where we drafted P-Will at, we really wanted a new change and a new and to be a budding star for this team. But that doesn't mean that Patrick Williams still can't be a long-term played player in the NBA. Now, is it going to be in Chicago? May not be. But, Detroit firms in this weird sealed off area like a bubble. Nobody in the corporate towers ever goes outside. Way different from Chicago. Hate when people compare Detroit. Oh, people compare Detroit and Chicago? Come on, man. Open this video in front of my OG Haize. We all know Gar Forman is a fucking Muppet. Me turns down the volume. That is hilarious. That's funny. Let's see. Hopefully Pat gets himself together. He's been invisible. No, he hasn't been invisible, but he hasn't had it, like, especially when you have a player like Torrey Craig coming in behind him. It's very noticeable. Doc really getting carried by that one ring, bro. That ring is his whole damn resume. And people forget, like, Tom Thibodeau was basically not just an assistant coach. He was the defensive coordinator of that team. He completely operated and ran that defense. And so, like, that goes to show it's important to have great assistants around you as well. So, yeah, I mean, it was the perfect scenario. So, I think Billy have lost the locker room. The players don't respect him. I mean, there's a very high probability of that. Would love the Bulls to find a coach that stays around. LOL. Pop him. The Spurs are a real love story. Absolutely. And keep in mind, he left the Spurs and came back. So, yeah. Oh, great point, Jonathan Aegis. People were calling to get rid of Kobe. Listen, I always say this. I always tell this story. One of the first videos ever on this channel to pop off was the offseason where we signed Lonzo Ball. And I dropped a video in that offseason, said the Chicago Bulls would be crazy to trade Kobe White. And I remember Bulls saying, oh, you're crazy. You're really going to die on this hill. Oh, this is bad. He's absolutely being moved by the trade deadline. Oh, this is going to blow up in your face. Now look at it. He's our starting point guard on a new deal. Right. So sometimes you just it takes a while. Must win as is. I hope we can build confidence heading in a tough schedule and claw out some wins. That voice, though, that's funny. Let's see. Come on, Haize. Pat really don't have it. Maybe he's just a good bench piece, but his defense, it could be Billy's system. Well, no, I mean, listen, you don't become the least scored on player in isolation and be terrible, right? So again, and Pat has shown flashes. Keep in mind, too, we have not maximize the development of Patrick Williams. Now, his mentality is on him. That's not to say but both things can be true. But you can help a player along because people forget. Kawhi Leonard was extremely passive his first season and a half, but he had a head coach in had a head coach in Greg Popovich that he said he described it as building Legos. You add a layer, and then the next season you add a couple of more of those building pieces. And then by the time you're done with it, you have this house that's built out of Legos, right? Because you've added building blocks year after year. Patrick Williams hasn't had developmental reps. It took him almost 2.5 seasons to reach the number of shots typical fourth overall picks get in 1 year. Now, again, part of that's his mentality. So I can't say that he doesn't have it. I can say that he doesn't have it on its own, but that is the point of development. Development is building confidence through repetition. And we haven't had a coach that has put him in the same spot. He's been comfortable sitting him out in the corner. Again, that does not eliminate Patrick Williams' own responsibility for his mentality at all either. I'm just saying both can be true. Maybe it's good that Patrick, Ayo, and Drummond didn't play much last night so they can be fresh for today. I mean, hey, that's definitely a possibility. And Ayo had the second highest plus minus of any player on the Chicago Bulls. What former Bulls player you think would be the best coach for Bulls player? Kirk Heinrich, if I just had to go off Bulls player to be a coach, right? I'm so surprised Kirk Heinrich didn't become a coach. I just knew Kirk will become a coach. What up, Haize? I agree, but we got to stop babysitting Patrick Williams. You, as an organization, put an emphasis on development. No, they didn't put an emphasis on development. That's the problem. This front office, this organization did not put a single emphasis on development until just now. So you can't expect the same summer you add a player development staff and a shooting coach. You can't expect that same year all of us. Honestly, it takes 1 to 2 years of true development to be able to say that. So no, this franchise did not put an emphasis on development. And that is part of the problem, especially when you draft these project pieces that you know are extremely raw and you don't put a highlight on development. That's a problem. That's a problem. Imperfect Kingdom in the building. Shout out to Imperfect Kingdom. What you got on some new designs, brother? What you got on some new designs? I haven't taken a look lately. By the way, starting five has been announced. Same starting five. So P. Will keeps his starting position. Zach LaVine actually is playing. Shout out to them. We'll see. Damn, gotta watch the fight and the Bulls at the same time. Hey, PB and Patch, I'm right there with you. I got an OSU game I gotta watch at the same time. I think it kicks off 30 minutes after the Bulls game. So, hey, listen, it is what it is. I disagree here with Damn Laurie would have been so nice on the team. Him and Vooch would have been a great duo, I feel. I think defensively there would have been a lot lacking, but hey, and I said again, another video I had my first year is that I would have actually liked to see the Bulls keep people. Now I understand Jim Boylan completely ruined Laurie's confidence. Laurie wanted out of here, but I do think that had you kept him, yeah. Hey, much love. Keep up the great work. It's a new season. Bulls fans, let's go. Get them likes. So shout out to Corey Mays in the building. Appreciate you having you come through, brother. P. Will off the bench kind of works out because he's usually better playing against second unit guys on the other team. There's actually no data to actually show that. P. Will stats. I'll go over them just so I can actually read them to you. P. Will off the bench actually is no different. And that's why I say it's all about the mentality with P. Will. Let's go and look at it over his career. Give me 1 second. Let me bring up P. Will's numbers. I'm just going to do this. So let's take a look. Let's go back. We're going to go back last season, for example, right? So last season, as a starter, Patrick Williams averaged 10 points per game, 1.3 assists, 4.4 rebounds. He averaged as a starter. As a bench player, 9.8 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 0.8 assists. He averaged 45% shooting as a starter. He averaged 46% shooting as a bench player. Literally, nothing changes for P. Will coming off the bench. It just isn't. I think that our expectations for him change when we see him come off the bench. But P. Will, as a starter, box plus minus is about the same. Usage rate definitely changes. That makes sense. He's coming off the bench. Like, it literally, nothing changes. So I think we, like I said, as fans, we tend to think that because we look at it and we have a different, like, it changes our mindset. But P. Will, there's nothing measurable that is any different when P. Will coming off the bench. Nothing. Same starters as last. Oh, yeah, I already said that. Good point on that one. Imperfect Kingdom says, text me address again. I'm going to send you. Oh, I appreciate that, bro. I got you, man. How do you feel about Alex Caruso tonight? I feel about Alex Caruso the same way I feel about Alex Caruso every night. Alex Caruso is one of the best bench players in the league, period. One of the best defenders in the league, period. The offense that he gives you is always a plus because that's not necessarily what he came here to do or his biggest skill. But Alex Caruso is a damn good player. And he's one of those players that if the Bulls were better, right? Let's say that we were a 55 win team, he would absolutely be in 6th man of the year conversation. Absolutely. Hi, Haize, just joined. How do you feel about tonight coming from a back-to-back? Come on, Sid. You always ask questions, and you come in here late, and you ask, I love you. But come on, Sydney. I also dropped a pre-recorded episode. You didn't watch that clearly either, in which I did keys to the game. Listen, the Bulls got to execute. I got to mess with you. The Bulls have to execute. That's just really what it boils down to on both sides of the ball. People may need to go through boot camp so he can develop some type of damn killer instinct. Listen, if 4 a.m. workouts with DeMar don't help you develop a killer instinct, it may just not be in you. And that's fine. People can be damn good players without a killer instinct. I think sometimes we like to go to these labels, right? You a dog, killer instinct. You can be a damn good player without either. It's all about the mentality and understanding and embracing your role, though. And that's something P-Will hasn't done consistently. K-Sign says, damn, bro, pulled out the data. Feels like when a teacher calls you. I honestly didn't mean to call, I didn't mean it that way. I just like, when I talk about things, I like to have the data to go to it so that way people know I'm not just bullshitting them. So it was more so to hold myself accountable, not to call you out, bro. Chicago Dog says, do you think the Bulls will blow out the Pistons? The Bulls have shown me nothing this season to believe that they can blow out anybody. They got to show me. I'm very much a show me person. You got to show me. And so the Bulls haven't shown me that yet. Let's hope that that changes tonight. 100, he's a good player. Need him to hit on my fantasy tonight. Thanks for touching on it. What? Touching on it? Whoa, come on. Oh, come on now. You can't just say touching on it with no context. Come on, fam. Haize, I think P. Will should go to the bench. Kobe White went to the bench and had to prove he deserves the starting spot. Now it's P. Will, sir. No, that wasn't the purpose. Kobe wasn't put on there to show that he deserves the starting spot. Kobe went to that bench because he was the only scorer that we had off that bench, and it made sense. Keep in mind, Kobe had one of his worst statistical seasons, but he took a leap everywhere else. And it was all, again, about the mentality, the need. So I get what you're saying, but not everybody's going to go through that same path either. Love seeing AC with the sneaky layups. Oh, for sure. It would be interesting to know what Io did different this summer than last summer because so far he looks better. No more Muffin Man. I don't think it's necessarily about that. I think it's just about he's playing a very different role, being the point guard. And keep in mind, he's playing mostly on the wing coming off the bench. So it's a very different role, and especially when you have Javon Carter out there, usually when you're out there as well, he's not doing a lot of ball handling. He's playing a lot more off ball, and that helps him as well as I think what he went through last season reminded him of how he needs to play. He's playing very much more like college Caruso college Dosunmu than what he did last year. Caruso and DeMar are the only one I feel actually improved the 3-ball. Everyone else looks the same, if worse so far. I mean, listen, DeMar is what he's always been with 3. So I won't necessarily say that he is taking more. So shout out to him on that. But I don't know if I feel like it's been a drastic change for DeMar DeRozan. Let me take a look at the data. Hold on. He's shooting the ball 33% so far. Guess what he shot last year? 32.4. Not that much of a change. It's really not that much of a change. So, and that what it just goes to show. I mean, is he taking more three-pointers? Let's see. So last season he took about 1.9 3-pointers per game. He's taking 3. So, hey, I mean, the volume's going up. The percentage is staying about the same. So shout out to DeMar on that. Yulia in the building says, hey, Haize, remember me from Australia. Back for the new season. I miss Javante. We need to push harder for rebounds. Every time Vooch shoots a 3, nobody goes for the rebound. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Yulia. So are we going to keep chucking up threes or start playing basketball? Someone on the team has to have basketball IQ. Should have said they even playing basic basketball no more. Well, I mean, that's also part of the system. That's what Billy Donovan's asking them to do. But they do need to run more of their offense for sure. If Vooch would, and see, this is another thing. When people want to zero in, if Vooch would hit half his layups, first of all, they can't even take advantage of Vooch when he has mismatches. So that's not all on him. Vooch is shooting the ball terribly so far, but as a team, we're shooting the ball terribly, right? Yeah, so we need to shoot the ball better overall. That's not just a Vooch thing. AC low-key can be defensive player of the year if he keeps up this level of play. Not going to lie. Well, yes, but also to be involved in conversations for that award, the Bulls have to win. He's not going to win the defensive player of the year on a 35-win team. So the Bulls have to win games also for him to get in that. Billy needs to go. We got a few problem areas, but he is the big one. I mean, he definitely is. And I mean, listen, you guys know I'm not a Billy guy at all. I don't like Billy as the head coach. I wouldn't mind if the Bulls fire him tomorrow. Chicago Dog says if Lonzo Ball was playing, would the Bulls be better? Yeah, keep in mind too, had Lonzo Ball never went down, I think people forget too. Yes, we were the number one team in the East. I even said it when we were on that 9-game run. The Bulls wouldn't have stayed number one team in the East. They had a lot of issues there. But I will say this is that imagine for the last 2 off seasons, if instead of trying to replace Lonzo Ball and what he brought, we were focused on fixing some of the gaps and the holes that team had, we'd be in a much better place. So, it sucks that we just never got to see that team outside of the 35 games that they were together. I'm just praying that Billy gets fired and his wife leaves him. Listen, Billy ain't getting fired anytime soon. So, all right, let's hear it. Haize, keys to the game. Go and watch the episode that I dropped earlier talking about keys to the game. Vooch need to play power forward and German said, no, that's stupid. That literally, I'm sorry, and I'm not calling you stupid, Trent. I promise I don't mean that offensively. Putting Vooch at the power, keep in mind, we wanted Vooch to take less threes. You want him to be at the power forward? That's stupid. But Drummond and Vooch playing together is literally would be the death of this team on offense. We're shooting 36% as a team so far. You want to put Vooch and Drummond out there with no spacing? That means it's going to pack the lane for DeMar. We have no spacing as a team. We're not hitting the three-point shot effectively. That is I don't even know why people go to that. Why do people think that playing Vooch and Drummond together is smart? It's not. That's literally, unless you want this team to win 20 games this season, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Mark Shannon in the building says Zach isn't playing tonight, right? No, they actually announced the starting lineup. Zach is in today, and Patrick Williams is still starting at the 4. I agree. Vooch isn't the most amazing player, but nobody ever sets him up nicely. And when he's in good position, he rarely gets the ball. Absolutely, 100% agree with you. What's the old saying? 2 birds in the basket are worth more than 3 clinking off the rim. I know we need to take more threes, but dang. I mean, listen, I agree with that. You want to take more threes, but you want to take them intelligently, right? And as far as clanking stuff off the rim, you know who never clanks off the rim? Dwight Howard. It goes in every time. Oh, whoa. But yeah, I agree with everything you said there, Archangel, everything you said. Vooch probably going to get open looks from 3 tonight anyways against Duren. Hey, I mean, listen, Duren is killing it with rim protection. I heard a lot of dumb takes from Bulls fans lately, shaking my head. Grade A trash. Yeah, people are really tripping with that. Really tripping. Haize, why not sit Zach? He does more harm than good when he's not 100%. That's bad management. Look, I said it last night. If you guys were on the stream last night, to me, especially because it's the second of a back-to-back, and we got a game against the freaking Indiana Pacers on Monday, I would have rested Zach this game. Now, just because he's starting doesn't mean he'll play a ton of minutes either. So we'll see. We'll see. Why the hell is Zach playing, bro? His back was whooping his ass last night. He must have rubbed some Tiger Balm on it. That's hilarious. No, he did the Mr. Miyagi. Remember what Mr. Miyagi was doing with Daniel's son? That's what he was doing. Hey, Haize, I just joined. How do you feel about tonight's coming from a back? I just answered that question, Sydney. I hate it. Don't do that. I hate that. Don't do that. Haize, Kitty said, keep Dwight's name out your fucking mouth. LOL. Peace, bro. I got to go back to work. Keep my bottom's name. Someone is at the front door. What the hell? Who's at my front door? Wait a second. Somebody may have to get shot. Oh, no, that's the pizza. I was about to say somebody was about to get clanked in this mug and ringing at my doorbell. Don't get shot. I automatically know who's going to go off on us, that Boban dude. That's funny. That's funny. That is funny. Yo, Haize, do you think that's harsh criticism? Stacey King last year was on point last season. If you ain't performing when your number is called, then you don't need to be in the goddamn starting lineup. No. I mean, listen, like, again, and I think a lot of people take that and would mean scoring. Like, it's more than that, right? It's performing in your role, right? It doesn't always have to be a bunch of scoring to be effective in what you're doing. But the thing is that it's been a long one. It's been tough. It's been tough. Tell Zach before the game that we called Dwight to, why is it, what's all the Dwight stuff? Dwight finna get, no, listen, Dwight come here, I'm shooting him. You ain't got to worry about that. We ain't doing none of that crazy shit here. You show up here, you getting shot with a shotgun. I'm not even pulling out the handgun on you. I got something for that ass. That would bring him there. That's not what I meant. Call the manager. That's not what I meant. I meant I would shoot you. That's what I meant. So Dwight, please don't show up because I said I got something for that ass, because it's not what you want. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I mean, I would shoot you, as in murder. I did not, like, listen. Stay your ass at home, Dwight. Don't come out here, bro. Stay your ass at home. Atlanta is calling for you. Don't come here. Yeah. Sydney, sorry, Haize, I'm visiting my college besties for Halloween, so I'm all over the place and trying to listen while I'm getting ready. Hey, it's no, you're good, Sydney. I just had to mess with you. V-Dog said, relax. I wonder if people's mentality got ruined when he had to come off the bench in college. Nah, I mean, listen, but that was a different situation. That was a very different team. Hey, it's crazy. Y'all know I told y'all when I started this off, I'm crazy. I literally told y'all that. He finna get on you like Damon on Friday. Yeah, okay. I tell you what. Him and Kitty better stay in Atlanta. They better stay away from me. We ain't got no time for that here. Ain't no time for that over here. He better go to Montrez's house. That's who house he better go over, because we ain't got nothing for him here. Nothing. But all right, y'all, we got 10 minutes into game time, man. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another live stream and dealing with all the craziness that I say all the time, man. Go Bulls, see Red. We'll be back here at halftime. Make sure you guys are tuned in for that. Love you guys. Go Bulls, see Red. Peace, y'all.